Tuesday. I don't know where to start. It was horrible. One of my classmates, Jamar Law, he was found dead. I was on my way to my yearbook club meeting, and I saw a few drops of blood leading from one classroom to the stairwell. I don't know why I did it. Perhaps out of morbid curiosity, or something else entirely. I opened the door, and what I saw will haunt me for the rest of my life. Jamar's severed head sitting next to a chair, and his dismembered body laying in the chair. His left arm hacked off. For right now the school is closed, while trying to find out who did this. Oh, Jamar, I never liked you, but you deserved so much better than this. I'm so sorry. Wednesday. They found Jamar's murder weapon. Well, part of it. A bloody saw was found in the men's bathroom. Safe to say that's our murder weapon. The police keep coming to me for questioning about Jamar's murder. Mom has been sending them away every time. She's been trying to get me therapy. I don't know how much kind words can help me with what I saw, but it can't hurt, I guess. School is closed down for the next week so the police can do their investigation. I doubt I can help, but I'm going to try to do some research myself. First thing I'm going to do when Dad gets home from work is to ask to go to the library. They have a big forensics section. I'm sure something there can help me find some clues. Thursday. I brought Rowley into the investigation. I wanted to do this myself, but Rowley's dad is a cop, so maybe we can get some information from him. Rowley's not helping with the forensics side of things, just as well because he didn't see the body. For now, he's calling up our classmates and asking them what they were doing at the time of the murder. For now, though, I found a small piece of evidence. It isn't much, but there's no way death by saw wouldn't leave blood splatters. I'm not talking about the puddles. I'm saying the saw would have made the blood go much further out than just the puddles underneath Jamar's corpse, especially considering he was only a few feet from the wall. So either the saw is a red herring, or the killer had the time and the know-how to clean that blood up. Friday. Other than the blood stains not matching the murder weapon, I haven't found anything useful from the forensics books. So I've shifted my focus to getting statements from everyone else at the school. So far, everything matches with what I saw, but there is something I find very worrying. If everyone is telling the truth, it means I was the last person to see Jamar alive. About an hour before I found his dead body, he asked me for directions to the drama club. Now that I think about it, the classroom he was found in was in the same building as the drama club, and I think Erica is in the drama club. Erica's been one of the few uncooperative people so far, but one way or another, I will have to get her to talk. This is Kenny from the local news media. What can you tell me about your boyfriend Jamar? Saturday. I don't know how, but the killer knows what I'm doing. I should have been more careful keeping this a secret. This morning when I went to get the mail, I found a letter with only my name sharpied on it. I don't know what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't this. If you keep sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, your body will never be found. The handyman. The only times I really let people know what I was doing was during my interviews, and at the library. Someone was probably listening in or something. Who is this handyman anyway? If they already have a name for themselves, they must have planned this, and known they would make a name for themselves. I think I'm gonna look up this handyman. I doubt I'll find anything, but it might be worth a look. This is bad. I assume this was an isolated incident, but no, this has been going on for years. The handyman was a serial killer in the late 90s. He, or she, targeted middle school students, killed them, and cut off the left hand on each of them. They were never caught. The handyman strikes again. By news reporter Linda Belcher. Plainview is in shambles after the 8th victim of the handyman was found. The victim, Alicia Walters, was found with a letter from the handyman in her pocket made from old newspaper clippings. Her cause of death was deemed to be 3 stabs in the back of the head with a screwdriver. If anyone has any information that could lead to the handyman's capture, call 1-800-214-0588. The handyman always kills with maintenance tools and targets whoever found the previous body, sending threatening notes to torment his victims before he kills them. If any of this happens to you, contact the police. Papa Tony's 2-for-1 deal. Order any 1-topping pizza and get the second one free. Mention this ad and you'll get an additional $1 off your order. Offer expires on December 31st. I guess all of my classmates can be ruled out as the culprit. Not that it matters anymore. I'm done investigating. Tomorrow I'm going to the police station and showing them this note. I feel like I was so close to cracking the case, but if the handyman is coming after me, it just isn't worth it. Sunday. No. It's Dad. He doesn't believe me. I showed him the note in the news article and begged him to take me to the police station. After all that, he still assumes that it's just some sort of prank. In desperation, I told him I would go to the police station myself, and he reacted in the worst way possible. Good luck with that. Worse yet, the school called everyone today and told us we had to be back tomorrow. I gotta warn Rowley about this. If the handyman really does kill me, I want Rowley to know who they are and what they are capable of. I hope it doesn't come down to that. As long as I stay where people can see me, I should be fine, right? Monday. I'm back at school today. Nothing terrible has happened yet, but knowing any adult I pass by could be planning on how they're going to kill me is nerve-wracking. Not making things any better is Rowley. I told him to dress in a way where he wouldn't be easily recognizable. I expected him to wear a hoodie or something. What I did not expect was him coming to school dressed as a damn lion. Something important came to light today though. 2 of the girls in my homeroom approached me during lunch about the case. Becky claims Mr. Nern never showed up to gaming club the day Jamar died. Stranger still, Miss Hernandez canceled last minute on that same day. We're all meeting at the library after school. Stacy says she has an idea to find the clue we need to track the killer. The girls and I practice our plan of action for over 3 hours. The only major wrench in our plan is Rowley chickened out. He was supposed to guard the shed entrance while the girls monitored some walkie-talkies they gave us so they could give advice. The only unnecessary thing we ever did was stand in the halls and repeat our plan over and over until we memorized it. So during lunch, you sneak into the storage unit, search Mrs. Hernandez and Mr. Nern's area for evidence. Then I run. As nervous as I am, I'm pretty excited about the whole thing. Tomorrow, we find the killer. Tuesday, I've infiltrated the storage unit. I'm writing down everything I see so far, mostly just book pages and printed paper. I can hardly see a thing in here anyway. It's so dark. Wait a minute, I found something in the corner. It's a box full of power tools, with a few other stuff in it, like white rags. Oh my god. Under that box, there was another. It was sealed, but I took one of the tools and broke through it. It's hands. Lots and lots of severed hands. I have to run. I can't run, somebody just came in. I know I just made a mess, but maybe they won't see me. Greg Heffley found dead by Jean Belcher. Plainview is still in shock after the second murder has occurred in Plainview Middle School within a 2-week period. The killing happened between 12:30 and 1:45 p.m. Tuesday, March the 18th. He was found in the Plainview Middle School's storage building, though his cause of death was deemed to be blunt force trauma with a claw hammer. Circumstances are uncertain due to the bomb detonating near his corpse after the murder had taken place. The bomb was short range and damaged very little more than Greg and his immediate surroundings. This is unacceptable. My husband knew my son was getting death threats but did nothing about it. Susan Heffley. A picture of Greg Heffley taken on his 12th birthday, 2005. Flip to page 14, more details about the life of the victim and this horrible crime. The Life and Death of Greg Heffley. By Peter Parker? What is Peter Parker doing in a Diary of a Wimpy Kid fanfiction story? What? Okay. Greg was always a creative and sweet boy, says Susan Heffley. He put so much heart and soul into all his journals. I plan on publishing them soon. The creative genius sadly had his life cut short on Tuesday. The details evidence goes deeper than a hammer and a bomb. Both of Greg's hands were missing after the bombing. Though that could be the result of it, the real troubling news is Greg allegedly received a letter from the handyman, an infamous serial killer who terrorized Plainview in the late 90s. See page 21. Tuesday. Today's Greg's funeral. Even though it wouldn't change what I did, I wanted to go get some closure. But no, Susan left without me this morning. I called a taxi so I could get to the funeral in time. As soon as I arrived, Susan turned around and screamed, "Get the fuck out of here!" That's it. I'm going to talk to my lawyer tomorrow. We're getting a divorce. I've wanted to leave her for years, but I stayed so I could be a good father. I know the courts tend to favor women, but I'm going to try my best to get custody. My sons deserve better than a mom who's so petty she won't let her husband attend his own kid's funeral. Tuesday. I just got back from Greg's funeral. I thought I would feel better afterwards, but I don't. I can't believe Greg's been gone a whole week. He was my best friend. Dad's been trying to make me feel better, but it's not working. I'm sorry about what happened to Greg. Several mornings, I wake up and wonder when Greg's coming over, only for reality to hit me. And I remember he's never coming back. Especially not when his death is due to my own failure. If I told my dad the truth, I know he would tell me guarding the door wouldn't have saved Greg. But I know if I was there when Greg needed me, he would still be alive. Wednesday. Today, Mrs. Heffley invited me over so I could take what I wanted from Greg's room. She said taking his stuff is what he would have wanted. The only thing I wanted was a photo album with a bunch of pictures of me and Greg. But I knew taking only that would make Greg sad, so I took all his video games and stuffed animals. Even though I didn't want it, I took his case folder too. Maybe if I show it to my dad, it can help him find the man who killed my best friend. After I left, I could hear Susan crying as she waved goodbye. She told me I was the best friend her son ever had. I feel sorry for him. Who would want me as a best friend anyway? I need to stop thinking sad thoughts. Greg wouldn't want that. After I got home, I showed Dad Greg's crime notebook. He looked through a few pages before making a phone call and driving away. Dad didn't come back, not even at dinner time. Mom says he just went to work, but he wasn't supposed to work today. I've been trying to think about other things. I put all Greg's video games by the TV, put Greg's stuffed animals next to my bed, and I don't know what I want to do with the photo album yet. It seems too special to put with the others. It's bedtime now. I hope Dad will be back when I wake up. Wednesday. Good news! Dad's back, and the folder had some really important evidence, and he was just taking it to work. They were so proud of me, they let me have sugary cereal for breakfast. You might have just given us all the evidence we needed to solve the case. After that, Dad took the day off so we could go to the amusement park. Most of the rides were too scary, but it's still the happiest I've been in a long time. The only thing that isn't making me happy is Dad is telling everyone I found all the clues. It's not true. Greg found all of it. He deserves credit too. Thursday. Dad took me to work with him today. He wanted to tell me everything he could about the mystery, but he also told me I wasn't allowed to tell anyone what he told me. He spent all morning explaining stuff, like how the camera tapes inside the club were stolen and how 4 other people went into the storage building around the time Greg died. I didn't really understand anything until lunch when he said the only remaining suspects are Nern and Agatha Hernandez. Dad told me they took both of them in for questioning. He doesn't think they're gonna say anything that could link them to the murders, but it's worth a shot. Friday. Nothing really worth writing about happened today. Dad went to work and I stayed home with Mom. The only thing related to the case is both Mr. Nern and Mrs. Hernandez refused to talk, and after 24 hours they had to let both of them go. I just saw Mrs. Hernandez drive to her house and she looks upset. All I want is to find Greg's killer, or just wake up and realize this was all just a bad dream. It's almost bedtime. Well, I hope something happens tomorrow. Miss Becky killed by the handyman. By Marina Ida. The beloved Plainview middle school teacher, Miss Becky, was murdered by the handyman. When Papa Tony heard a scream outside, he ran out to see someone beating Mrs. Becky with a wrench. She was then taken to the hospital where she died from the beating. The attacker was believed to be the handyman due to the use of maintenance tools, in a clear attempt to cut off her hands. The attack happened Friday at 8 p.m. If you have any information that could lead to the handyman's capture, contact the authorities, and please report if you receive a letter from the handyman. Both Greg Heffley and Mrs. Becky received them shortly before their deaths. Monday. I just got out of school. It was horrible. Greg was my only friend, and he sat next to me in all my classes. A couple of times I would say something only to remember the chair was empty. The worst part of the day was second period. It was Miss Becky's class. I cried the entire period. Worst thing of all was until Mr. Nern gave her a detention. Patty would go over to my seat and laugh at me for crying. "You're crying over your boyfriend, Greg? I didn't know you were that pathetic." Wait a second. Mr. Nern is one of the prime suspects, and I saw Mrs. Hernandez at the time of the killing, and Patty is with him alone right now. I turned around and ran. I knew she was already there, but maybe he hadn't tried anything yet. Without thinking, I yanked the door and ran inside. Mr. Nern was holding a crowbar. I tried to turn around, but he started slowly walking towards me, saying, "Would you like to be my friend?" I was too scared to run, but I also wanted to know the truth. I knew Greg would have been brave if he was doing this for me. Knowing that made me brave enough to say, "Why are you doing this? Is it hurting innocent people? Why did you kill Greg?" My name is Kieran Nern. I am 35 years old. But you don't want to hear about that, do you? You want to hear about the killings. It all started in 1991 in the town of Dorio, where I got my first kill. It was an ex-girlfriend. It was easy to lure her where nobody could see us and slit her throat. Before I disposed of her body, I cut off her hands to keep as trophies. From then on, I had an uncontrollable urge to kill. All of my targets would be women about my age. As always, I'd cut off their hands to get more souvenirs. But in '97, one of the bodies turned up, and I was one of the suspects, so I packed up my stuff and moved to Plainview. I could continue my killings, but while killing people closer to my age was more satisfying, it was far more difficult than picking off my students. After a few years, I decided I would wait until the dust settled before returning to Dorio and starting the whole cycle again. But the week before I would announce my move, I saw Jamar with his head stuck in the chair. I decided I would make one final kill before I left. I had no idea I would draw so much attention to myself. I should still be able to return soon. I only have to remove one more loose end. Before he could even finish talking, I picked up one of the chairs and threw it at him before slamming the door and taking off. Even though I had a big head start, Mr. Nern caught up with me before I got off school grounds. But when I got to the woods, he was less than 10 feet away from me. I don't think I would have made it if I didn't run into Mr. Heffley while he was on a walk. I didn't have time to explain what was going on. All I did was yell, "It's the handyman!" before Mr. Heffley turned around and he ran at Mr. Nern and hit him in the face. Even after Mr. Nern dropped his crowbar, Mr. Heffley kept hitting him. Nothing made him stop. Not even when Mr. Nern started crying and begging for him to stop. I thought it would finally be over when Mr. Heffley called the police, but Mr. Nern tried to run the second he took his eyes off him. When Mr. Heffley caught up with him, he pushed him right in front of an oncoming truck. The Handyman is dead. Plainview is finally safe. By John Arbuckle. On Monday, March the 31st, the infamous serial killer known as the Handyman was killed by Frank Heffley, the father of one of his victims. Though Frank is getting prosecuted for the killing, the entire town is rallying outside of the courthouse in his support. I'm so glad all of his victims have gotten the justice they deserve, and I will stand by my dad no matter what. Says Roderick Heffley, the brother of Greg Heffley and the son of Frank Heffley. The prosecution refused to comment. Nobody else would bring my son and over 20 other people to justice, so I did it myself. Thursday. Tomorrow's my court date. I'm not worried about being found guilty. Almost every news outlet in the country has been covering Mr. Nern and his murders lately. I've agreed to most of the interviews I've been offered. A vast majority of the press I've gotten was positive. My lawyer told me all I have to do is treat it as a defense and I'll win over the jury. Even though I've done all I can to tell the world about Greg, I still feel deep down it's not enough. Some pathetic tabloid even tried to turn it around and accuse Greg of being the real killer. I shut that down in a matter of hours. Susan and I are still discussing our divorce. I should have done it years ago. But I was always afraid she would take the kids. I've never felt like I was the best father, but I'll be the best father I can to my remaining sons from now on. July. Mr. Heffley's trial ended today. He was found not guilty for the murder of Mr. Nern. I helped out as a witness. The prosecution didn't even try. I guess they were just happy to see so many people brought to justice. Lately, I've been helping Dad solve other crimes around Plainview. I've only solved 3 so far, but Dad tells me 3 cases can make all the difference. I don't have much room left in my diary, so I've decided to finish it off with a tribute to the amazing detective and my best friend, Greg Heffley. And with that is the end of the Plainview serial killer. It was actually really cool to see a murder mystery fanfic. I don't think we've read too many of these. And Greg being offed halfway through the story, that was a pretty big surprise. I won't lie. I was kind of expecting him to do like a last minute escape, but they packed him up pretty quick, I will not lie. I liked how Riley and Frank kind of picked up the mantle and continued doing the investigation. Well, I guess not so much Frank, but Riley kind of picked up the mantle and continued with the investigation and eventually found out that Mr. Nern was the handyman that was killing all these kids and people before, it looks like. So that was actually a really cool part of the story, and it looks like Greg was not so much of a dickhead in this story like he is in the other ones, which is pretty refreshing, I won't lie. But that's gonna do it for the video. I hope all of you guys enjoyed. If you did, of course, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. Make sure to put on the bell for notifications so you never miss another fanfic, because I'll be posting a whole lot more very soon. Greg and the Mafia Part 2 will be coming out sometime in the next few weeks. I'm very excited for you guys to hear the end of that story, because the author of that just put so much effort into it, and it really came out amazing. So I hope all of you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.